can see. Get up on your feet, rise up.
Welcome to another segment of the Turks Seymour Show. Today I have my guest today is Mr. Jack Lightbourne, a local artist and also an entrepreneur. And we're going to talk about several things today. As we go through this video, you'll see that Jack is involved in a number of things. Before we go into the interview, I just want to also reiterate how important I believe that music is in a society. I think music, especially local musicians, it glues people together. Sports bring people together, music brings people together, and I think this is something that we are not given enough attention to. It's neglected, and there's so much, division in our country, and of course, there's division everywhere, I guess, in all countries. But I know one thing that could unite us together is music, and so with this, I just want to officially welcome Jack Lightbourne to the Turks and Caicos Show. Jack, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, my brother. I appreciate you having me.
It's a pleasure. I know we tried getting you for a while, but you've been really busy between here and in the U.S. For Jack, those who are watching, of course, I have international viewers, so a lot of people who might not know you at this, of course, everybody in Turks and Caicos, I think, knows you. But so for the viewers, tell us about Jack. Who's Jack?
I'm a young man from out of the local streets of Overback in Grand Turks and Caicos. I grew up a very humble life on a small island, very tight-knit family environment.
Yes.
And I've grown to become a man with many ambitions, a passion for community, our people, and wanting to see how we can take our ambitions to a whole other level, not just myself, but the entire village.
Right, it's a collaboration.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So Jack, let's go into the music element. I think I met you many years ago when I was the CEO for Cable Wireless. But tell us, how did you get involved in music? You are a recording artist. How did you get, and when did you get involved in it?
Well, interesting you brought up the cable and wireless thing. I just want to touch on that. One of the biggest opportunities that I've ever had, and I want to publicly tell you thank you. While you were the CEO of Cable and Wireless, you guys gave us, I think it was like $15,000, and I was one of the first recording artists to headline a performance in Las Vegas.
Awesome. I remember that now. Yes, I remember that now.
Because of your contribution, and it was not just me. I took Tac New Sounds at the time, was a local DJ. From here, I took a full band, choreography, and we gave Las Vegas a taste of Turks and Caicos culture. But back to your original question, how did I start out with music? I grew up listening to bands when I was very young. Mm-hmm. So about 6 years old, my neighbor, his name is Skeets. Skeets used to play the guitar, and I started learning how to play the guitar from him. I grew up watching the musical creators play, Paul Roberts and those guys, Martian Starr. I would just stand by the keyboard and watch him play and learn chords. My mom got me a keyboard. My brothers had a band, my older brothers, and I would sneak inside of the shack and beat on the drums. So I just grew up around a lot of musicians in the community of Grand Turk, and it paved the way for me when I became older to have access to a recording studio and to record my first song, which was Kick, Drop, and Wine, and now I'm here.
Yeah. So when did you record Kick, Drop, and Wine?
2003.
2003. So how many videos have you recorded so far?
Wow, good question. I shot maybe at least 5 or 6 music videos.
Okay.
Yeah, Thank You, Kick, Drop, and Wine, Wine Your Body. I did some documentaries also.
Yeah, what about the one, I remember this one?
Take Me to Paradise. Take Me to Paradise, Ike. I shot about 7 or 8 music videos.
Okay. That is, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, persons who want to pursue music as a career, what advice would you give them? Because some parents or members in society may discourage people from going into music, that they might not see any benefit. But I believe that people should pursue their passion.
Absolutely.
But so what advice would you give those persons who really want to pursue music as a career?
Well, to the young men and women, pursue your heart desire. Pursue your dreams and never give up on it. To the parents out there, one of the things I would like to say to them is to encourage kids to be themselves, to go out and pursue what it is that they naturally love and desire. One of the things that I would like to see, Traxel, is I want to see music incorporated into our school's curriculum. There's so many careers that can be developed from music that we don't think of. We only think of music as fun, and it's nothing to be taken serious. Artist development, artist management, audio production, management, recording studios. This is $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
And I think if we can teach our kids, not every kid is going to be a doctor or a lawyer. If we can give kids the opportunity to work in these fields and profit from it, then we're expanding and diversifying our own economy here in Turks and Caicos.
Yeah. And another thing, as I mentioned, Jack, at the beginning of the show, I think music instills a sense of pride. You know, when you think of Jamaica with, reggae, it is still a sense of pride in Jamaicans. Even me as a Caribbean person, instills a sense of pride. But to see our people performing in music, I think it creates national pride. It brings us together. You see Barbados, you have Rihanna. I'm just saying how music brings people together. What are your thoughts on that? I
admire when I see or visit other countries. Even when you look at famous people on television, they go to Jamaica, they leave saying, "Yeah, man," or they leave with one of the phrases from Jamaica.
True.
Or they go to the Bahamas. Right. So you see how these people are so prideful. They're proud and their own heritage and culture. But what bothers me is that when people come here, they hear us talking like other people, or they see us emulating someone else's culture. How true. About we create our own language, our own food, our own music, which we already
we have.
Right.
But we need to expand and
give it to tourists.
Cultivate it.
Be proud of it.
Yeah.
And expand that and carry it and pass it on to people that visit it, so that people begin to emulate us and speak like us and take our slangs with them.
Yeah. That's a very good point you raised, actually. So music is very impactful.
Powerful.
And because it's so impactful, I believe that we should make sure utilize our local talent. I have nothing against international people coming here, but we have a lot of events. The oldest festival is South Caicos Regatta. Well, we don't have the Provo Day anymore. I think we had an event in North Caicos. I don't remember what it was called. Then we had Rake and Scrape.
Yep.
I think in Grand Turk, what's it called? Grand Turk event with Lake and Rita. I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I saw my job.
So all of these things that we do, and not only the events, but when we go to restaurants, I think we need to play more local music.
But back to the events, when you look at the flyers, it's quite obvious what we're doing with these events. And
what do you mean is obvious?
You look at the flyers and you see a bunch of artists that's not from here.
Oh, okay.
I 100% support a show. If you bring Buju Banton here, Barris Hammond, and they're having a concert, I would go out and support it. But we have specific cultural events that are designed to promote local culture, local music. And I don't think that when you have those events, it should be filled up with other people's music and artists coming in to we never needed artists to come into Turks and Caicos for cultural events like Provo Day, TI Summer Jam, or simple events as going to North Caicos to promote culture. But now you look at the flyers and it's basically foreign music on top of foreign music. And then the bands go and play more foreign music on top of that. So at what point do you promote your own identity, or you even establish that and begin to give it to the world?
I absolutely agree with you on that. I don't know. I feel that people even think about that. I feel that what they do, I may be wrong. I feel they do this to attract crowds because they have a well-known person. But I think at some point in our lives, we need to put our country above anything else. And one way we can put our country above anything else is to use our people.
Right.
Use our, especially for culture events. Use them, have them play them at the restaurant, and then when people are there, they go, what's that music, have our CDs, and I think that's what we need to do, and that's how we instill, that's one of the ways we instill a national sense of pride in our people.
Right, because if we continue to do that and think of it like, oh, it's a monetary thing, if I don't bring in a big name artist, then nobody comes out. What do we look like 20 years from now?
Exactly. And then how do we get our local people to be a big name? Not because we're not big yet, but if you continue to use them and they be able to expose themselves to the world, they could become a big name as well.
It's exactly what other countries did. Even when you look at events such as Fish Fry, it's the largest social event
Oh yes, I
in
forgot about
Turks and
Fish Fry.
Caicos that's put on and supported and sponsored by our government. The tourist board, when you look at this event, there's almost no cultural elements to it. If you walk around and look at the food, you probably could eat more jerk chicken than you could find you a nice piece of, you know what I mean?
Good. But what about the music? Because I haven't been there for a long time.
The same thing can be said about the music. It's cover bands, and I have to be careful in terms of not wanting to offend my brethren who are musicians. But if you have a cover band that's playing music, and they're only playing covers, they're not promoting our culture.
So, okay, when you say cover band, you mean they're playing somebody else's music?
Yes. So Fish Fry consists of bands that primarily play cover music.
Got it.
Even in the events where one or two of the bands may have some original songs, they don't play it.
Even, I can't remember, I was at Mosconu, but I can't remember what happened there.
Oh, that's.
I can't remember whether they used local music as well. I don't remember. Well,
the only way you get local music comes from the artists. If you look at Trinidad Carnival that just passed, you're not going to see a band as a headliner. You're going to see Bunji Garland, Patrice Roberts, Destra, Marshall Montano, this one, that one. You don't know the name of the band that's backing them up. It's artists, because artists produce music. If you go to Crop Over in Barbados, or John Canoe Carnival, or an event at Zuma Regatta, the flyers are all artists, because those are the people that perform and sing the music you hear on the radio station.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a headline as a band, a cover band.
Gotcha.
And that's the industry that we have established here in Turks and Caicos. The industry is manufactured and controlled by cover bands. And it's almost moving backwards, because I need the same cover band. So on the same token, I don't want them to be upset with Jack, because it's not taking food out of their mouth. But the band should be backing up the artist.
I understand what you're saying.
Right. So Tess should be headlining the show, backed up by a local band. Joan Kaya, Sprat should be headlining the show. Keno and Kaz should be performing with the band, backing them up, even if it's not me. But you cannot continue an industry that is controlled. We're the only country that does that.
Yeah.
If you look on flyers anywhere, any festivals, anywhere in our region, you see artists. That's promoting the culture of those people.
Yeah.
When you use a band here in Turks and Caicos, for example, you go to Rake and Scrape in North Caicos, you bring in Bahamian artists, the Bahamians play and sing their music, and then you use a cover band to go play more Bahamian music.
That's very interesting.
So at what point do you promote your own culture? And as far as I know, it's a free event, so it's not a monetary thing. It's not like you're losing money.
Yeah.
The event has already branded itself. That and other events.
Yeah.
People are going anywhere.
That's a good point, and I hope persons who are listening to this, they now reconsider whatever they're doing to use our local artists. I mean, we need to promote our local artists. We need to promote national pride, and music, sports are two things that we could do to do that.
And I want to be careful in terms of, I don't want it to be about me.
No,
This isn't about me.
No, it's definitely not about you.
Because when you look at this picture 20 years from now, if we continue doing what we're doing, remember back in the day, you're older than me, and you had Sud Caicos Regatta,
Yeah,
Cactus Fest in Grand Turk.
yeah,
The entertainment was 100% purely your Sky Lake Band, Ceasefire, Solely and the Gang, the Rebels. Even though those guys may not have had music recorded, they controlled the industry with
I know in
original
South Caicos we
music.
had our stuff.
Banana.
Yeah,
Singing original music.
Uh-huh.
Now it's like we're moving backwards.
We import people a lot of times to these events,
Right.
and so it drives that principle, like foreign is better than local, and that we have to be very careful with that. We are just as good as anyone else. We may not be well known, but we're just as good or even better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, speaking about music, I noticed that you have formed a nonprofit organization just because music is so impactful. Music to fight crime, and
Yes.
I think your initiative is One Life. Tell us about that initiative and why you decided to establish an NPO and why crime.
I think some of it is for the obvious reasons, to see how we evolved as a country socially. Turks and Caicos is now, I hate to even speak about it publicly because it's
What's
not
that?
it's a little bit embarrassing to see where crime has evolved, how it has evolved in
Yeah.
Turks and Caicos. So it's for that reason I wanted to develop something that can connect with people. And it seems as if at one point nothing else has been working to connect or bridge the gap between law enforcement, national leaders,
Community.
the churches, the communities, and these gangs. So how do we begin that healing process? How do we begin to communicate with each other with one single voice that every stakeholder can understand? And for me, that's music and sports.
Definitely.
So I definitely wanted to use my platform in music to encourage all of the stakeholders to use music as a bridge builder
Got
in the
it.
middle, to say, hey, we're going to be meeting because of music, but it's much bigger. So fighting crime with music, we want to go into each community and we want to take resources. We want employment services. We want to take scholarship programs. We want corporate Turks and Caicos, your resorts, your businesses, your construction companies, to set up tables whenever we visit these communities and be able to give people long-term solutions to some of these ailments. We don't just want to go there and give out food or Pampers, even though we have a program for a public baby shower where women can come and publicly give items for single parents or pregnant females. But at the end of the day, I think it's so important that we take long-term solutions into these communities so we can teach people to be self-sustainable.
Right.
And we want to leave a piece of us in each community that we go into. We want to leave a men's group, a women's group, employment literature so people can understand how can I get appropriate training to learn how to
Got it.
utilize my skill set. So even if you're not touching the gang member directly, it might be his mother that he see you helping, and it makes him change his life. It may be his child's mother. It may be his son or his daughter that he see us coming into that community and helping out. So we want to make it an effort that is not just music or not just myself. I want all of us to go into the community and contribute.
That's a very good initiative. Very, very good initiative, and I think it will make a difference. We need to be more involved. And what I like about your plan is something going to be long term. I find that a lot of times we do things as a one-off event, or we start things and we don't continue. We need to be there a long time, because sometimes people need help all the time. They need guidance. And so I congratulate you on this initiative, One Life. I'll be interested if you need help. In any way I could assist. I'll be more than interested to do that. And I like how it's a community event. You're going in the community, you're reaching the people. We're trying to bridge that gap. So congratulations on that initiative. I'm looking forward to the fruits that the initiative bear.
And I want to shout out Stana P. So the initiative One Life is
Yes,
the theme
I'm wearing the
song.
shirt too. Yes.
Thank you. It's the theme song for the organization. It's called One Life, and I've heard about Stana P before in the past, but I've never met him. And up to this day, I met him once, but we already recorded a song.
Now who's Stana P?
Stana P is a rapper from Blue Hills,
Oh,
and extremely gifted.
okay.
I mean, he has a lot of influence in his communities around the country. A lot of people follow him, but I was so impressed when I heard his music,
That's awesome.
and I was so happy when he agreed to
It's
come
a
on
young
the
guy?
song. Young, very
Okay.
young guy.
Okay.
So the collaboration is between me and him, and one of the things we're gonna be doing March 30th through April 1st, when we have our first community event, April 1st, we're gonna be filming a music video for the song the entire weekend.
Okay.
And the video, one of the scenes that we plan on, well, two of the scenes. The first one, we plan on filming in the middle of downtown in the street, and we plan on carrying a casket through the road where we're singing the song in the front of it. As a reminder to young man
Yeah.
that you don't need to go in this casket. We want to end the video at the graveyard in Five Keys. Instead of burying another young man's body into this graveyard, into this hole, we want to emulate young men burying their guns, throwing their guns into the hole. So we plan on shooting some powerful scenes that we hope resonate with young men and young women around the country.
Okay.
And we're looking for the support of anyone who can help out with our organization to make some of this possible.
Okay. So do you have experience in dealing with criminals or trying to get criminals off the street? You have experience in that?
For 5 years, I worked as an investigator. I investigated child abuse and neglect
Oh,
with DCF in the state of
What's
Florida,
DCF?
the Department of Children and Families.
Oh, okay.
So I have an extensive amount of experience with social work and investigations and dealing with abusive and people that come from a very
Broken homes? or-
broken homes.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know.
So, and then music in itself bridges that gap too.
It does.
But
It does.
professionally, I do have experience and a background in
Awesome.
dealing with families.
Yeah. Now you're an entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
You have this company called Carson. That's your daughter's name?
Yes, my daughter's name is Carson.
Yeah. I use the water. Very, very good. Well, tell us about this.
So
This company.
Carson's alkaline water is water produced here in Turks and Caicos, and it 100% chemical free. We use a production system that it's called ceramic conversion. We
Okay.
use mineral rocks, natural minerals, to add to change the pH of the water.
Okay.
So we're not using the aid of electricity to change the pH.
Okay.
We're also taking all of the hard metals and chlorine out of the city water.
Okay.
So it makes the water very premium and healthy drinking water.
Okay. So where can we purchase the water?
You can purchase our water at most of the gas stations, Caicos Mart, Long Bay Express, all of Graceway supermarkets, IGA Gourmet,
Okay.
Sunny Foods, and Five Keys. You can find it there, and some of your bars and restaurants.
Okay.
David Karaoke Bar and Grill,
Okay.
Cat's Kitchen, Five Keys.
Okay. And what made you decide to do this as a business?
I've always been involved with health and fitness. I left
okay.
Turks and Caicos on an athletic scholarship, so I've always been living and trying to live a healthy life.
Yeah.
So it's something that fell right in line with what I was already doing naturally.
Right. Now speaking of Carson, let's talk about your family. You have two children, right?
Yes.
Carson and
And David.
David. How
My
old are you?
government name is David, so David Jr.
They will name after you.
Yeah, he's,
Oh, because
he's
Jack is your middle name, it.
no, Myron is my middle name. Jack is not even
Oh.
my government name.
Oh, okay. So you have how old is Carson?
Carson is 8 years old.
And Jack and David.
David, say Jack and David. David is about 9 months now.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Congrats. And then of course, how many siblings?
It's 8 of us in total, and during the pandemic, I lost 2 of my brothers, unfortunately.
Oh wow. Tell us about that, if you mind.
No, it's okay. Very sad. My brothers were, especially those 2 brothers. We have a close-knit family, but those 2 brothers in particular were probably my biggest supporters, especially my older brother, Lighty, because he played music, and Dudley was more of a, he would talk about me outside of my presence. So his friends, even to this day, would always tell me how he spoke about my music and my drive and everything like that. But he had a different way of communicating and telling you stuff.
Yeah.
But Lighty definitely was always around telling me about what we could do to make music better. Like, both of them were former police officers too.
Yes. Yes.
And shout out to the police department also. They're going to be involved with me with this project.
Oh, that's great.
They've been extremely helpful. And even though we knock the police when we see stuff going on and we think they're not performing well, we have to give them credit. And one of the things I noticed, I see the police in the community now.
Really?
You can see a larger presence of police engaging, going to schools, visiting communities. So I want to acknowledge that. I think it's a great gesture.
Okay. So we're almost to the end of our interview, David or Jack. What are your next steps? You recorded about 7 videos already. You have this great community initiative. You're really getting involved. What are your next steps?
I want to change this world, my brother.
Yeah, world changes.
Honestly, I want to see Turks and Caicos be a part of this dream, this development. I want to see.
What do you mean?
I feel like Turks and Caicos is growing like this, and the people.
Oh, you mean you want to see Turks and Caicos Islands?
I want Turks and Caicos to move with the economy. With
okay, the locals.
Right. I want us to catch up with it. When I say Turks and Caicos Islanders, I mean us. I want us to be a part of this story that you see happening right here in our presence.
So how do you think we could do that?
I think every important agency in any country should be operated and controlled by its people. So think about that for a while. Your financial, economic agencies should be controlled by Turks and Caicos Islanders. National security, from immigration, law enforcement, should be Turks and Caicos Islanders. Your banks, your resorts, every institution that is of significance, your land. And if you think about some of these agencies and you look at how it's being controlled, tourism should be controlled by Turks and Caicos Islanders. Because if none of these agencies are controlled by us, our story would never be told. Our growth would not take place.
So how can we get it controlled? Because it's not being controlled. How?
I think government needs to play a role in ensuring that we control it. And on the ends...
How? How does government need to play a role?
We already have create policies and initiatives to say that this has to be...
But we have some of those policies.
So why are we still bringing in people to control land and all of this stuff?
We still have that policy, Jack, but I think it's a lot of times it's the enforcement too.
So why are we still bringing in people that's over important agencies such as land?
You talking about the Crown Land Policy?
The people that are controlling these...
You mean making decisions? You mean government departments?
Right.
I don't know the answer to that, but I will tell you this, that some of us need to apply for those jobs, and we see those jobs being advertised as well.
You don't think we apply to these
I don't think all of us apply. I did a research. Some people do, and some people get rejected. But I think some of us, even people like with their law degree and stuff, you don't have to work for a law firm. You can work in the Crown Land Policy. I think I remember seeing someone mention it. Was it Honorable Lillian Mizzi? I think she had made a statement like that. And I did a research recently, and do you know that there are 200 management positions in government? And 84% of our Turks and Caicos Islands, are locals.
But is it really the police job or the judicial system?
I think it's a combination.
But if I take you to court and you found guilty and the judge sentenced you to a low sentence, that is the responsibility of the judicial system.
Yeah.
And do we have control over our own judicial system too?
Well, I don't know we have control. I mean, we
But
have...
that's back to my point.
Yeah.
All those important agencies we must control.
Yeah, I think we're controlling most of it, honestly, with government departments, based on my research I did. We're controlling most of it. I think a lot of us need to apply for those jobs as well. I remember one time the statement was made, we have all these positions,
Right.
and nobody has been applying for these jobs, and you have to re-advertise again.
I don't know about the larger numbers,
Yeah.
but I do know of people that have applied for certain jobs.
And they were rejected. Of course,
They
you
were
can have
rejected and the jobs were given. Some of them were in the news, publicly discussed, where local people were turned down and foreign people came in and took up those
that.
positions.
And you think they were
we had
these were
qualified,
qualified
yeah,
locals?
we definitely
Well,
had-
there should be a recourse. There should be, you know how a lot of people like to use the court system for things. Then I believe that.
But if you don't control the court system and someone that's not from your control that,
Yeah, but the court's supposed to be professional.
they
And
supposed
they're
to
supposed to
be.
be ethical.
They supposed to be.
Yeah.
Politicians do,
But everybody's supposed to be.
but we know that's
You know.
not the reality.
But don't
of-
you think sometimes too, though, David, that sometimes it's good to have a mix of people? Because sometimes we're so familiar with everybody, and don't you
should.
think it's good to have a mix, though?
We should, but I'm talking about key positions.
Okay.
We could never run this economy without expatriates coming in.
Yeah.
These hotels and resorts would
Especially with
never
our
function.
population base.
But what I'm referring to is key positions that control the future of
Yeah.
who we are as a people.
At the end of the day, the land, as far as I know,
Your
I believe,
legislative system, your judicial system,
the legislature is controlled by us.
indirectly.
I mean, of course, the governor is the head of the state, but
Who controls legislature?
our parliamentarians should
Politicians,
control.
right?
Yes, they advise the AG. This is their plan of legislation that they would like to have.
Right.
They prepare the
So the politicians
paper for
control
them. Take it
legislation.
to cabinet
How does politicians get into power? Is
through
it
us.
through us or money?
I can't comment on that one, Jack.
No, it's, if you're gonna win an election, one of the most key components of an election is your money from donors. We don't like to talk
But-
about these things.
But
No?
they have to. Since the Interior Commission came in place, they also have to document that.
That's fine.
And I think the maximum any company or corporation give is 30,000.
All right, if that's something recent, we're talking about historically how it has been done. So if I have a business,
Since 2012, everything has to go through the Interior Commission.
right?
You have
So
to file.
so if I have a business and I give you $2 million, all right? Maybe you cannot do it now based on what you're saying.
Yeah.
But for years, if I was able to give that to you, what is now my expectations? You just won that election because of the people voting for you, or because the monetary value that you had to campaign with?
It's both. It's the people and you couldn't win unless you have the people. But of course, the money.
So back to my point. Indirectly, it may seem as if our politicians and we control legislation in this country. But there's a bigger reality. In the U.S., they call it lobbyists. We know how decisions are made. It's made by money. So your legislature, your judicial system, the banking systems, every important key element of society, if we do not have full control over it, we don't have a real say in how this country
But-
develops and how it evolves.
I like this conversation, but let's get back to your point. Even if we control it, but if money is being given to us behind the table, we still back to square one. Even if we control these key positions and people are giving us money to do certain things.
If we form a government based on people, I think the majority of people in this country are people with integrity, where money won't be able to influence them. So if we have a system where our politicians are elected based on a unified system, so now we're removing our PNP and PDM lands.
That would be
The
good if we
day-
could remove that. But
The day we remove those lens and biasness from how we see society, only then Turks and Caicos Islanders would be in control of our own narrative. And I think that we need something to change because this country, people are controlled by the mindset that I'm either, I think, out of a PNP lens or a PDM
I agree
lens.
with you with that. I absolutely agree with you. I think for those who are watching the show who are not familiar with Turks and Caicos politics, I know in the United States you have Republicans and Democrats. In Turks and Caicos we have two major political parties, the Progressive National Party, which is the current government in power, and then you have the People's Democratic Movement, which was the first political party to go in power in 1976. And so that's what we are talking about. I agree with you. I think a lot of us, we think a lot at times either PNP or PDM, and that's a big problem for us.
We should go to the polls and have a group of candidates, regardless if they're PNP or PDMs, and when we elect those particular people, they form the government.
But you know what I think? You know what I think we should do? It may not be realistic. I believe we should get rid of political parties. And what I think we should do,
That's essentially what I'm saying.
yeah, what I think we should do, David, Jack, is get rid of the constitution, what do you call it, constituency representatives. And I think that each constituency should have like a board. You run, like the Bight has a board, South Caicos has a board. You elect people to serve on this board. The government allocate money to the board, and they have these objectives to achieve for each constituency. And then I think we should only have 6 people running for government. It will be the 6 ministers. I think it's 6 ministers, right? Or 7 people.
6 or 7, something like that.
And I think we should see. I think we should vote for the leader, the premier. We should vote for Minister of Education. I think people should run for ministerial positions. That's what I think we
almost
should
essentially what I was
do, and
saying.
become inform the government. I think we should get rid of
Now you don't have no
PDM.
biasness.
Yeah, I
You
hope we
have no-
don't.
right.
But I think that's what we should do.
Well, would that ever happen?
I don't know, but I think that's what we should do.
The people that
I didn't know we was going to go
control,
into this conversation, but it's very interesting.
well, it has, I feel like governments, and I posted this to my Facebook page some time ago, governments with an S on the end over the years, they're out of touch with this generation. So I'm not afraid to speak about these things on your show, even if I'm not 100% correct on everything.
That's okay.
I don't have to speak just to be right. But I think I'm a reflection of young
What
people
the
in this
perception
country.
is as well.
Right. And young people in this
Or the
country,
reality, sorry.
the government does not look like us. The government does not speak with our language. They don't act like us. They don't feel what we feel. And I think that the government in this country should reflect you and I and the majority of people there. And I think when it don't, then you start to experience issues. And I think that's one of the problems, part of the problem with crime. A lot of people feel like, man, you don't care about me. I don't even see you. I don't even know you. When's the last time someone went into Q-Town without a camera just to go sit down and talk to a young man? When's the last time?
Yeah, I
Some of
agree
these
with you,
people-
right? But I wouldn't totally blame government, especially for crime.
No, I'm not blaming them.
Yeah, I think the crime is many different facets. Because when I interviewed this guy the other day, he didn't want to work. He was not interested in working. He
Does it reflect most of the young men in this
he
country?
just wanted to get some fast money, and so all he did was go and find those homes where he assumed people had money. He didn't want, because jobs are here. That's one thing, and also their family breakdown. There's so many different factors.
There's a lot of facets,
Yeah.
but does that young man reflect the majority of people in this country? Because one of the things you hear some of our own people saying is that Turks Islanders are lazy. It's like, oh, you talking about me? Talking about Drexel? Talking about yourself?
People make that
Like,
statement.
I
A
think
lot of
that's
people make
garbage.
Yeah. A lot of people make too many general statements. I mean, David, that's the problem, eh? There might be like 1 or 2 incidents that people experience from local people, and they label all of us. And that's part of the problem.
I think that's
They
sad.
label all of us, and all of us are not. They are hardworking Turks and Caicos Islanders, and there's some lazy Turks and
That's
Caicos
why a
Islanders.
lot of
There are
the-
hardworking Americans. There's some lazy Americans.
That's why a lot of the businesses use the excuse of bringing in a plane and boatload of their own people to work at their own resorts. Because our own people already labeled the local people as lazy.
We
saying
are-
they don't want these jobs.
We are
so-
labeled, but eventually they'll have to bring people in anyway because of our base. I mean, my thing is, as long as every Turks and Caicos Islander is employed in the right position, we can bring in the employees we want to bring. But if we have Turks and Caicos Islanders unemployed, I have a problem with that. But if every Turks and Caicos Islander is employed in what they want to do, then bring in the rest of the people that we need to fill in the jobs. But we are labeled, and sometimes it's not just expats doing it, it's our own people doing the same thing. Some of us have had bad experience with some Turks and Caicos Islanders, and we do the same thing as well. So that's why I encourage people, whatever they do, to do the best. Do the best, because you're being watched. Even though you're in your own country, you feel like minority, you're being watched. Do your best, because you're representing us. You know? Yeah. Do you have any closing remarks? It was a great, by the way, I enjoyed this
I appreciate
conversation.
you, my
I
brother.
enjoyed this conversation.
I did.
The event is April 1st,
Yes.
and 5 Keys.
Yes.
All right. And we're in 5 Keys exactly.
Do you know who Sweat is? I don't know a name for that. He has
Okay.
an open little area there.
Okay.
Right before you got the Cat's Kitchen. But once you make the left into
Well,
5 Keys,
we will find it.
right on your
Find
right
it.
hand
All
side.
right.
Very easy to find.
Right.
But yeah, people who want to donate or sponsor to fighting crime with music, they can donate at RBC Bank. We have a nonprofit account set up at
Okay.
RBC Bank, Fighting Crime with Music, and we need the support of everyone. If you want to come and set up an informational booth, it's free of charge. We just want to give resources and information into our community. So we're encouraging all businesses to come out and give back to the community in any way that you can.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You have anything else you want to add?
That's it.
Okay. Well, Jack, I really enjoyed this this conversation with you. I wish you the best in this initiative, and thank you for your contribution that you have made to the music industry in the Turks and Caicos and beyond, because you not only in Turks and Caicos, you also spend time in America. And I'm just hoping that this show will encourage other people. We have a lot of talent here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Some people are just discouraged, but music is, like you say, is a $1 billion industry. And if that's what you want to do, then I say pursue it. Music brings people together, and this initiative that Jack is doing is I believe is going to combat crime. And I just want to thank all of you for watching the Drexel Seema show. Have a wonderful day.
Rise up, rise up.